I have poultry. I have chickens, and I was really into showing them at one time. So back in 2011, I was in a lot of purebred chicken groups. And during that time, I met somebody online who was really intriguing, very inviting. We had lots and lots of texting back and forth and emails, and I really wanted to meet her. She didn't live far from me, but I was very drawn to her. It took a while to get her to agree to let me come over. And when I did, I found like a dream farm in the city. She had turned her backyard into a barnyard. So that was sort of my way into her life, is that I would come over and photograph her animals. But really, I wanted to be friends with her. And she was a very wary, cautious person. Even while she's inviting me in, so I got to know her. She had a chronic illness that's underserved in the medical community, and she was a real champion of people who had that disease. She was very public about it. She had a blog. She was an activist. She was demanding parity of treatment. She herself had been told she was a malingerer, a fake, on and on. And she just kept plowing along. So one day I kind of invited myself over, and she was building a room on her house, an addition. And she told me she had taken in a woman who had this disease, and her daughter did too. I photographed, we talked, I kept trying to invite her. How about coffee? How about, oh, you want to breed your pygmy goats? We can load them in my van and we can drive to the Ram. No, she couldn't. She would be too overcome sometimes with a migraine or brain fog, or she wanted to be home. And I didn't give up. I kept trying. So the next visit, when I came over, I walked in. She always let me in through the backyard. And I sensed something very different when I walked in. There was a scar. It wasn't there physically, but I saw somebody had left a scrape along the side of that room she was building. We had our visit. I didn't mention it, but I kept looking at it. And I wanted really badly to say to her, you know, I can help you with that. I can take that away. But I didn't, because I didn't want to spook her out. And I really wanted a friend. So I just kept it to myself, but I kept looking and wondering what had happened and who had left it there. After the visit, which was significantly depressed and she was not in a good mood, it turns out this woman, rumor, was a con artist and had bilked her out of a lot of money, and she had to finally have her evicted. She was a victim of internet bullying. Some people had heard about it and were calling her a fraud and all sorts of things. So it was a very heavy, bad time for her. Our friendship continued. I continued trying to get her to come out of the house. And then one day or night, I was home alone. I was asleep. And I heard somebody come into my room, and I sat up, and it was her. And I didn't really think to say, how'd you get in here? It just seemed normal that she would be there. And she was very excited, ebullient. She said, guess what I did? And I said, what? She said, I killed myself. I said, oh, okay. And okay, that's why you didn't want to be friends. It dawned on me. And she said, yeah, there was no point. There wasn't enough time. But I came here to tell you because I knew you wouldn't judge me. And I said, no, I'm not going to judge you. And then I thought, look at her feet. And I looked down and realized she wasn't standing on the ground. And I thought, well, she's not actually here physically, but I'm awake. And then my eyes opened, and then I was really awake, and there was no one there. But I had this feeling of she had been there. And the next morning, I'm looking at my emails, and another poultry person wrote to me, "Did you hear what happened? She's dead." Yeah, I heard what happened. The last I heard from her was a couple days later, where I was just gardening and not thinking anything, and her funeral wasn't for a few weeks. And she appeared in my head. I didn't see her. And she said, "I have to ask you a favor. Please go tell my mom when you go to the funeral that I'm not unhappy about what I did. My mom is suffering silently. My dad is the emotional one. So tell her I'm the captain of my ship, and I'm glad I did it." And I said, "I can't do that. I've never met your mom. I can't go to your funeral and say that to her. But if you found me, you can find her. So maybe you should do it." So I didn't do it. But I still wish I had removed that psychic scar. I don't think it would have changed her mind about what she wanted to do. So that's my story. I've never heard from her since.